There comes a moment in every relationship when you wonder, do they really love me? Will they choose me forever? And with someone who's avoidant, that question feels even louder. Because you're not just loving a person, you're loving a soul that has built walls, that has been conditioned to protect itself from pain. But listen closely. When an avoidant finally shows you this sign, it is not casual. It is sacred. The real sign is when they allow themselves to stay. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and wholeheartedly. You see, for someone who has spent a lifetime retreating into safety, choosing to remain open, choosing to stand in love instead of fear, that is the deepest declaration they could ever give. Words are easy. Promises can be empty, but presence is everything. When they begin to show up consistently, when they no longer disappear in silence, but instead lean into connection, you are witnessing a miracle of transformation, because for them, love is not about infatuation. It is about surrender. It is about saying, even though closeness scares me, I choose to be here with you. That is love on the highest level. They may not always say the perfect things, but they'll reveal their heart in subtler ways, letting you see their wounds, their fears, the parts of them they swore they'd never show another soul. And when they trust you with that level of vulnerability, it means you are not temporary. You have become their safe place, their anchor. You'll notice the shift when instead of protecting themselves, they start protecting you. Instead of building distance, they build a vision, a future where you exist at the center. They begin to invest not only in their growth, but in yours, because love, when it is real, is never selfish. Love says, Saint, I will rise with you, I will fight for you, I will create with you. So when you ask, what is the sign that an avoidant truly loves me, that they want me forever? It is not grand gestures. It is not constant reassurance. The sign is their choice to stay vulnerable, their willingness to stand by you even when fear tells them to run. The sign is their presence, consistent and unwavering. That is love in its truest, rarest form. And I promise you this, if you have earned that place in their heart, if you see this sign, then you are standing in the presence of a love that has been fought for, a love that has defied fear, a love that is not fleeting but eternal. Consistency is the quiet proof of love that transcends words. It's easy for anyone to say, I love you, in a moment of passion, or to make promises when emotions are high, but for someone who struggles with avoidance, whose natural instinct is to retreat when closeness feels overwhelming, consistency becomes the rarest and most powerful gift they can offer. When an avoidance starts showing up in small, reliable ways, you are witnessing something extraordinary. This is not just habit, it's a conscious choice to fight aga, against their own fear, to keep returning to you, even when every fiber of their conditioning tells them to pull away. Think about how easy it is for someone to disappear, how easy it is to vanish when pressure mounts or when emotions feel too heavy. That's the well-worn path for many avoidants. To protect themselves by creating distance, by staying in control, by holding back from the intensity of connection. But when they begin to break this cycle, when they choose to stay present in moments where they used to run, that's when you can feel the truth of their love. It may not look like fireworks, it may not sound like romantic speeches, but consistency, the kind where they show up day after day in ways big and small, speaks louder than any words could. It's in the text you receive, not because you asked for it, but because they wanted to check in. It's in the way they keep plans with you, even when their instinct might be to cancel. It's in the simple act of staying in the conversation where they'd normally shut down. These may look like small steps, but they are monumental shifts for someone who has spent their life believing that safety is found in distance. That consistency is not accidental. It is deliberate, and it is love in its most practical, lived-out form. There's a divine principle hidden here. Love is not proven in the grand gesture, but in the repetition of showing up. Anyone can make a vow once. Anyone can feel passion in the heat of a moment, but can you keep choosing that person again and again when the excitement fades, when challenges appear, when fear whispers in your ear? That is the mark of a bond that's meant to last. For the avoidant, who often struggles with this repetition, the moment they begin to give it freely is the moment you know you've touched something deeper in them than most ever will. What makes consistency so transformative is that it builds trust. Every time they show up, instead of retreating, they're sending a message, "Panu matter. More than my fear, you matter more than my patterns, you matter more than my instinct to hide." That message, repeated through actions, starts to heal the very wounds that once kept them from intimacy. It creates a foundation where love is no longer fragile, but steady. And in that steadiness, both of you find freedom, the freedom to stop questioning, to stop doubting, to stop wondering if the other shoe will drop. Consistency is not glamorous, but it is holy. It's not dramatic, but it is powerful. When an avoidant starts showing it, it means they are choosing you not just in bursts of inspiration, but in the quiet rhythm of everyday life. They are declaring that they are willing to walk this path, not just when it feels good, but when it challenges them, when it tests them, when it calls them to grow. That's what makes it the ultimate sign, not because it is loud, but because it is steady. And in love, steadiness is everything. Emotional vulnerability is the doorway to intimacy and someone with avoidant tendencies, it is the most profound and difficult gift they can offer. Most people underestimate just how significant it is when an avoidant begins to open up. On the surface, it might look like a small detail, a story about their past, a confession about their fear, a moment where they let their guard down. But underneath, it is a revolution. Avoidants spend years building walls that protect them from pain. They learn to cope by withdrawing, by hiding, by becoming self-sufficient to the point of isolation. To expose their inner world to another person feels like standing naked in a storm. It is terrifying, yet when love takes root, they begin to risk it. And that risk, that act of emotional honesty, is one of the greatest signs that they love you deeply and are envisioning forever with you. When someone who fears intimacy chooses to tell you what's really going on in their heart, it's not an accident. It is not something they do lightly. They are essentially saying, and trust you more than I fear being hurt. That is massive. It means you've created a space where they feel safe enough to step out of their default survival mode. And for them, survival has always meant control. Controlling how much they share, controlling how much they need, controlling the distance between themselves and others. Vulnerability disrupts that control. Ice tremble and honesty is the most courageous act they can perform. And here's what makes it even more powerful. Vulnerability creates intimacy that nothing else can. You can share laughter, you can share passion, you can share dreams, but when you share pain, when you share fear, when you let someone hold the pieces of you that feel fragile, that's when love goes from surface to soul. When an avoidant offers you that level of honesty, they are essentially placing their heart in your hands and saying, "Man, please don't drop this." That is not casual. That is forever energy. There's also a sacred truth here. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is strength refined by love. It is the ability to look at someone and say, "Here I am, flaws and all, will you still stay?" And when an avoidant asks that question, even without words, they are hoping you'll prove that love can be safe. Because deep down, they don't want to keep running. They don't want to keep hiding. They want to rest in a love that allows them to be fully seen without being rejected. So when you see them opening up, resist the temptation to overlook it. Don't assume it's small. Recognize it for what it is, a declaration. They may not be standing on a stage shouting their love to the world, but in their silence breaking, in their walls lowering, in their tears flowing, they are saying, "You are the one I choose to trust. You are the one I want to keep forever." Vulnerability, especially from someone who fears it, is not just a sign of love. It is the highest form of devotion. Choosing connection over isolation is one of the clearest signals that love has taken root in the heart of someone who usually withdraws. For the avoidant, isolation is home territory. It's safe, predictable, and controllable. They know how to manage their emotions in solitude, where no one can challenge them, question them, or disappoint them. Connection, on the other hand, feels risky. It requires them to step into unpredictability, to share a pace with another soul, to surrender the safety of being fully self-reliant. That's why when you begin to notice them reaching for you instead of retreating into themselves, it's not just a behavioral shift, it's a transformation of the highest order. This shift doesn't happen overnight between isolation and intimacy. When they consistently choose intimacy, even when it feels uncomfortable, they are proving their commitment. They are saying, "I matter more than my comfort zone. You matter more than my habits. You matter more than the old patterns that used to keep me safe." That choice is evidence of deep love because it requires them to override instincts that have been hardwired for years. It's not easy for them, and yet they do it. Why? Because the bond they feel with you is stronger than the fear that used to control them. This choice also reflects an evolution of identity. For so long, they defined themselves by independence, by not needing anyone. But as love deepens, they begin to redefine strength. Strength no longer means closing the door and surviving alone. It starts to mean staying present, even when it's messy. It starts to mean leaning on someone else and realizing that vulnerability doesn't diminish them, it expands them. When they choose connection, they're stepping into a higher version of themselves. That growth is not just for you, it's for them too. Because in choosing connection, They learn that love can be safe, that intimacy can be healing, and that together is stronger than alone. There's a divine principle hidden in this transformation. Isolation may protect you, but it never fulfills you. We are not created to live behind walls. We are created for relationship, for communion, for partnership that reflects the deepest parts of who we are. So when an avoidant begins to choose connection, they are aligning themselves not only with you, but with the truth of their own soul. They are stepping into the life they were always meant to live, a life where love is not feared but embraced. And this is why you must pay attention to this shift. It may not come with grand declarations. It may not look like movie-style romance. But when they reach out instead of retreating, when they stay instead of shutting down, when they let you into spaces they once kept private, you are witnessing the truest sign of love. They are saying without words, and I don't just want you in my life when it's convenient. I want you in my life always. I choose you, even when it's hard. That choice, repeated again and again, is how you know they love deeply and want you forever. Investment in your growth is one of the most undeniable signs that someone truly loves you and sees you in their future. For an avoidant, this is especially profound because their default setting has often been self-focus, self-preservation, and self-reliance. They have spent years believing they can only trust themselves, that depending on others is dangerous, that giving too much means losing control. Yet when they start to encourage your dreams, when they actively support your progress, when they invest in your becoming, it is proof that love has stretched them beyond the boundaries of their old survival strategies. It shows they are no longer living just for themselves. They are living with you in mind. When an avoidant truly loves, their vision shifts. It's no longer about protecting their independence at all costs. It becomes about protecting the bond and fueling your potential. You'll notice they start to ask about your goals, not out of politeness, but out of genuine interest. They might remind you of your strengths when you doubt yourself. They might push you when you're about to give up, not because they're critical, but because they believe in you even more than you believe in yourself. That kind of support is not transactional. It's not about what they get out of it. It's about love choosing to see the best in you and standing guard over your destiny. Think of how remarkable this is. For someone who once avoided emotional entanglements, to now pour their energy into another person's journey is nothing short of transformational. They aren't just showing up for dates or moments of affection. They are stepping into the role of a partner, an ally, a co-creator of your future. They are saying, such success is my success. Your joy is my joy. Your growth matters to me because you matter to me. This is not casual involvement. This is long-term commitment, spoken not in words, but in action. There is also a spiritual principle at play here. True love is never selfish. It does not envy. It does not restrict. It does not fear your expansion. Instead, it multiplies what already exists. When someone truly loves you, they don't want to hold you back so they can feel secure. They want to lift you higher so you can both rise together. For an avoidant, this is especially powerful because it means they are no longer operating from fear of being left behind. Instead, they are anchored in the belief that as you grow, the relationship grows, and as the relationship grows, so does their own fulfillment. You'll know this shift is real when you feel their encouragement during your struggles. Maybe you're pursuing a career dream and instead of retreating into silence, they cheer you on. Maybe you're healing from old wounds, and instead of distancing themselves from your process, they stand by you, patient and present. Maybe you doubt whether you can achieve something, and they remind you of your capacity, saying the words you most need to hear. I believe in you. These moments matter because they reveal that their love is not about controlling you. It's about freeing you. An avoidant who invests in your growth is also investing in the longevity of the relationship. By helping you become more, they are deepening the bond, because two people who continue to grow will always find new ways to love each other. Stagnation kills intimacy, but growth fuels it. So when they encourage your dreams, they are securing not only your future, but the future of the relationship itself. That is why this is one of the most powerful signs they want you forever. They are willing to nurture not only who you are today, but who you are becoming tomorrow. So pay attention when they push you forward, when they celebrate your wins, when they help you believe in yourself. That is not casual affection. That is the language of devotion. That is the proof that they love deeply, that they are in this for the long haul, and that they see you as a partner they want to grow with for life. Protecting the bond is one of the clearest, most undeniable signs that someone is in love for the long haul. For the avoidant, this represents a massive shift in their inner world. Their usual pattern is to protect themselves first, to pull away when things get tense and to guard their independence above all else. But when they begin to protect the relationship, when they see the bond as something sacred, worth defending, worth prioritizing, you are witnessing a deep transformation. It means they no longer view closeness as a threat. They view it as treasure. And when something becomes treasure, you do not abandon it. You do not neglect it. You protect it. This protection may not always look like bold, dramatic gestures. Sometimes it shows up in quiet but powerful ways. It's when they choose to stay in the argument rather than walking out the door. It's when they take a breath before reacting because they care more about preserving connection than being right. It's when they make sacrifices, small or big, because they value the health of the relationship over their own immediate comfort. These choices are subtle but sacred because they reveal that the relationship is no longer just an accessory in their life. It's a priority, a centerpiece, something they are willing to fight for. For someone who has spent years believing that love was dangerous, this willingness to protect the bond is a miracle. It requires courage because it means they are no longer hiding behind walls. They are stepping out and saying, "This matters to me, and I'm willing to risk for it." Love that is protected is love that is valued. And when they begin to actively protect your connection, it is proof that they want you forever. It's not about convenience anymore. It's about commitment. There is also a deeper spiritual principle at play here. What we protect reveals what we truly cherish. You guard what you value. You defend what you fear losing. When an avoidant moves from protecting only themselves to protecting the relationship, it is a sign that their heart has shifted. They are no longer living in a mindset of scarcity, afraid of being hurt, afraid of losing freedom. They are living in a mindset of abundance, believing that love is worth the risk and worth the effort. That transition is nothing less than divine because it takes them from fear into love, from self-preservation into self-giving. You'll notice this protection in how they handle challenges. They may begin to prioritize honest communication over avoidance. They may choose to repair after conflict instead of letting resentment linger. They may even step outside of their comfort zone, attending therapy with you, reading a book on relationships, or learning new skills, because they want the bond to last. All of these actions speak louder than words. They say, I see this connection as my future. I am not here to let it slip away. I'm here to build it, guard it, and keep it alive. And here's the beautiful paradox. When someone protects the bond, they also protect you. They become more mindful of your feelings, more careful with your heart, more intentional about how their actions impact the relationship. They begin to think in terms of we instead of me. That shift in perspective is the ultimate evidence of love because it proves they are no longer living as a solitary unit. They are living as part of a partnership, and they want that partnership to endure. Protecting the bond means they have made a choice. They could have kept the walls up. They could have stayed in the pattern of withdrawing when things got tough. But instead, they chose differently. He chose to show up, to fight for the connection, to stand guard over what the two of you are building. That choice is not fleeting. That choice is forever. It is the unmistakable sign that they love you deeply and that they see you as someone worth protecting, not just today, but for a lifetime. Creating a future together is the ultimate expression of love, and for an avoidant, it is the clearest evidence that they want you forever. Avoidants are often wired to think only in terms of the present moment. How can I protect myself now? How can I avoid discomfort now? How can I maintain control now? The future feels uncertain and unpredictable, so they prefer not to make promises they might not be able to keep. But when love takes root deeply enough, something begins to change. Suddenly, they are not only thinking about today, they're imagining tomorrow with you in it. That shift from short-term to long-term vision is monumental because it means you have become a permanent part of their inner landscape. At first, this future thinking may appear in small ways. They may casually include you in plans for next week or mention a trip they want to take with you in the coming months. They may begin talking about the holidays, about meeting family, or about traditions they'd like to start with you. These might seem like ordinary conversations, but for someone who has spent their life avoiding entanglements, they are anything but ordinary. Each time they picture you in their future, they are declaring, "So I am not planning an exit. I am planning a life with you." That's a massive leap for someone who used to build escape routes in every relationship. Over time, this vision grows bigger. It's no longer just about a dinner next week or a vacation next summer. It's about building a home together, making long-term financial plans, discussing marriage, or even dreaming about children. When they start to bring you into these larger life conversations, it means they see you not as temporary, but as foundational. They are shaping their future with you in mind, and that is the clearest sign that their love has gone beyond fear, beyond hesitation, into the realm of true devotion. This willingness to create a future together also reflects deep healing. For someone who has always feared losing themselves in closeness, envisioning a shared future is the opposite of their instinct. It means they are no longer terrified of being consumed by love. They are inspired by it. They are no longer afraid that commitment will trap them. They believe commitment will free them. That shift is not only about you, it's about their own evolution. By including you in their future, they are choosing growth over fear, trust over doubt, and love over loneliness. There is a divine principle here. Love, when it is true, always looks ahead. It doesn't just satisfy the present, it builds for tomorrow. Love is created by nature. It wants to plant, to expand, to multiply. When an avoidant moves into hat space, when they allow themselves to dream with you, they are embodying the truest essence of love. They are no longer simply surviving, they are co-creating. That co-creation is sacred because it says, Fes said, my life is no longer just mine, it is ours. My dreams are no longer just for me, they are for us. You'll feel the difference in how they talk, how they plan, how they behave. They may become more responsible, more intentional, more thoughtful in their choices because now they are considering how those choices affect you. They may begin to think in terms of stability, security, and legacy, things they may not have cared about before because now there is something worth building for, someone worth protecting, someone worth building with. That someone is you. Creating a future together is the highest sign of love because it requires faith. It requires them to believe not only in you, but in themselves and in the bond you share. It requires them to step into the unknown and say, don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know I want to face it with you. When an avoidant reaches that place, it means their love has transcended every fear, every wall, every excuse. It means they are all in, not just for today, but for forever. And so, when you witness these signs, when consistency replaces absence, when vulnerability softens old walls, when connection triumphs over isolation, when they invest in your growth, when they protect the bond, and when they begin to dream a future with you, you are standing in the presence of a love that has moved beyond fear into destiny. This kind of love is not fleeting, it is not shallow, and it is not accidental. It is love that has been chosen, fought for, and nurtured. Carry that truth with you and honor it, because it is rare and it is sacred. Thank you for giving your time, your heart, and your presence today. May you take these insights and apply them to your journey of love and connection. And may your relationships grow richer, deep, and stronger than ever before.